Okay, welcome back everyone. So this is where we left off last. We've put our films into columns in cards, and we have all our cards at the same height. We've got our links working to our pages. There's a few things left to go, so there's still some more styling left to do here, but let's focus on the detail pages for now, so for the film detail pages. So if we open one of the pages up, you can see that it's quite simple, just a title and just the overview. And we want to sort of bring that a little bit more in line to what this is like. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. I am planning on doing it slightly different. But let's start off like this. Let's start off with, we'll have a title. I think we do have a title already anyway. The title is fine, but we could do a bit more of a gap. So what we'll introduce later on as well is we'll introduce the navigation bar and put that into our base template. But let's start off with the title. Underneath the title, we'll have a row which will have things such as the year of release, age rating, and duration. And then over here where we've got things like rating and your rating, I may do that slightly differently because I'm not going to have on my own, I'm not going to have trailers. So I'm probably going to do maybe the overview will go here somewhere on the right hand side, and then underneath it we'll have the cast, and I may include things like your rating. Actually, maybe we should put it in the top row. Let's have a look. Anyway, so let's open up our code, and let's close home page, and let's open the template for film detail. Okay, we don't have anything on it yet. So we've just got our title, and one of the first things I want to do is I'm going to leave the title where it is. Underneath that, let's have underneath that, well, we're going to ignore duration for now. Underneath that, we'll throw in a p tag, and what we want is, let's include film dot release date. It was released, film dot released, and actually if we throw that in curly brackets, and let's space this out a bit, so we've got also film dot certificate, and lastly let's throw in the film duration as well. Film dot duration. Okay, now what's going to happen straight away is the release is going to show as a full date. So if we save that, and if we go back to our page, if we just take a quick look here and refresh, okay, what we have is we have a full date, 24th November. And to be honest, the actual release date isn't correct, just the year is correct. And I just want to display the year itself, just like on IMDb. So to deal with that, what we're going to do is where it says release, we're going to throw in a pipe symbol, and we're going to type in date. So these are, I'll show you what these are in just a moment, and I'll put in capital Y, I'll put the year. So these are from the Django database. If you type in template, let's look for it actually. I believe it's Django template. You can give template filter, and just type in date. And what should come up in the documentation are ways that you can display the date in a particular way. So for example, here there's an example of a published date, and like I showed you, the pipe and then the date and then the C. And the C here, let's just see what the arguments are. It should be listed, it should be documented down below as well. So no, oh, maybe it's not on this page. Let's go back to the top. So arguments for date, let's have a look. In fact, it should be here. Date, comment, template inheritance, not quite. Do we have it? Here we are. There's date. Okay, here we go. So what did we see there? We saw C. So C would have been C would have been ISO format. So, you know, date including, well, what does that include? Formats such as ZOO, format will not at time zone. Okay, so it's time zone data as well. But we're not doing that. So we just want to show the year. So that's why I just said capital Y here. Lowercase y would have been the year, but 2 digits. So this is why this should work. If we go back now and I saved it, if we refresh, there you go. Now we just have the year. Cool. So just like our example here. And the next thing then is I'm going to throw the date in. No, let's throw the image in next. Let's throw the image in next. So we'll have a row for the poster. Let's do that. But I want the poster and the overview to be on the same row. So I'm going to keep the overview text there for a second. And I'm going to say div.row. So we're creating a row. In that row, I want that row to be split in 2. So we're going to have 2 columns. I'm going to say div.column dash and let's say 4. And then what I'll do is I'll copy that and I'll have a second column. And like we said, I think I said it before, columns are generally separated into 12 parts. So if one column is 4, if I want the other column to be the rest of the width, I'm going to have to say that it's 8. So it's got to make up 12. So here, in this column, we're going to throw in our picture. So let's say img for image. And our image source is going to be our poster. So we're going to say, oops, we're going to say film.poster. But also I want to throw in the class here because I want the image to resize based on the size of the column. So I'm going to say img fluid. Now all of this I've just picked directly from Bootstrap, from their documentation on how to treat images. If you just do an image search, actually all of this comes up. Next beside that then, we'll have another row, sorry, another column. And second column, okay, so what I think I want, in fact, let's get Bootstrap up. Let's open up Bootstrap again. Let's say get Bootstrap. And I was thinking a good idea might be to have alert badges, or are they just called badges? No. Kind of a bit like this, but I'd prefer them to be in tablets. Do we have something similar? I'm sure there are. I think if I was to do one of an outline, maybe a bit more like this. So these are down as span, and I hope they don't stretch out more than they need to be. Okay, that's perfect, rounded pill. So let's take these. Let's take one of these, for example, and let's take the primary one for now. We can think about the colors later. And I'm just going to throw that back into my code. So let's say that we want that. So we're going to want to change where it says primary. And it's going to say for us film.genre. Okay, let's have a quick look, see what we're seeing at the moment. In fact, you know what? Let's throw our overview in as well. So in that column where we've got a span, you know what? Let's put that in a paragraph tag because we want that to be in a row as well. So any other genre badges will go in this paragraph tag too, like that. But underneath it, let's bring in that overview. Nope, not there. In this one. So let's save that. Let's go back to our page. That's not looking too bad. Okay, it's kind of, we're getting there. We're getting there. So the size of the image is much bigger. And what we don't have is, I don't have enough content really to fill up a whole page here. I don't have all the other images and this, I mean, even the cast, I like the way the casts are in sort of, they've got their own avatars in rounded circles, ellipses, and you know, you can click on the characters, sorry, the actors. So okay, so mine's going to be slightly different. I am going to have them here, but I'm just going to fill up this space, and I think that's going to be most of my page. I probably will put the stars here in the top right. I'll deal with that in just a moment though. So the next thing I do want to deal with is, let's throw our cast in. So under here, let's throw our cast and director. And to do that, actually, I will do a list group this time. So I'll have the level. Let's start with, let's go here. We will have a heading to, and let's say top cast. And underneath that, we're going to have a list group. And again, I'll just borrow this directly from Bootstrap. So if I look at list group, so I want my cast listed kind of like this. What we could do is, you know, if we're going to expand this even further and have a database of actors, we could actually add their avatars in the list group as well. But for now, it's just going to be names. And so I think, I mean, that's suitable enough, just a basic list. So I'll borrow that. And we'll dump that into here. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to list our actors out one by one. So we had film dot star one, I believe it was. And if I just copy that, and let's get rid of the rest. I think we had 4 stars. Star 2, star 3, star 4. And then underneath the list group, let's have a separate heading. We'll call this one H5, so it's slightly bolder. Let's do director, and after director, we'll say film dot director. And if we save that, let's have a look at how our model looks now, our page looks now. Well, it's not great. We could do better than that. We'll continue to style it. In fact, to be honest, maybe what I'll do is I'll ask my students, see how they prefer it to be done, and we can work on this together. But okay, that's not, well, it's better than what it was. Yes. So, okay, so what I should throw in then is, maybe what I should do is, to fill this space up a bit more, maybe what I'll do is I'll get rid of I'll add this data into this area as well, so that we'll fill up our space a bit more. So I'll say, let's take this data here. So we've got our film title. Let's take that and let's throw that underneath. Let's put that there. And then underneath that, let's also throw in to here before the cast. Let's throw in details of things like the ratings. Now, we did this on one of our previous pages, so I'm actually going to borrow some of the stuff. In fact, I'm going to make some changes to the original. I'll show you what I mean. So, so let's start with, if I go to our templates, and I'll borrow from the home page the icons I used before. So the text, the filled in one, let's borrow that. In fact, let's just take all of that. And let's go back to here, and let's throw that there. So on the first row, we're going to have the actual rating, and that's fine over here. So this will all be on the same line, I believe. We'll have your rating. So let's, in fact, how does it display here? Here it actually says your rating. That's interesting. So here we'll say 8.8 of 10. And on the other line, I think what we'll do is, we'll say your, you know what, I won't say your rating. I'll leave that there for now. In fact, I'm going to create, should we do something similar? So we have a star, and then should I have this on the same, should I create columns here? That would be interesting. Let's have a look, see what it looks like currently. If we refresh, okay, not too bad. I think it'd be interesting if maybe I separated this data somehow, and I'm thinking one way to do it would be to put it into an alert type box. Where are we? So if we go to alerts, and let's just keep it simple. If I do like a light one, so if we borrow of a light alert, take that, and we'll put that directly into our code. So we'll say, there's the overview. After the overview, we'll have our alert, and we'll take our stars, and we'll put that into our alert like that. And if we have a quick look, okay, that's good. It's actually spacing out quite nice. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we had our text here as well? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dress that up. I'm actually going to say things on one row. So let's have IMDb rating. In fact, we haven't thought about a name for this yet, so we probably should do that. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll do one other thing. Let's space these out nicely. We'll do IMDb rating, and then we'll do your rating. But I might change this so that it only says your rating if you haven't rated yet. And if you have rated, no, it should say your rating if you've rated. And if you haven't rated, it should say something like click here to rate. So we'll discuss how to do that later. We're going to add some if statements into our template. So your rating, if you have rated, let's say for example you rated 8, and we'll do out of 10 as well. Have a quick look. Okay, not bad. That's not bad at all. I would like those stars to look a bit bigger compared to the rest of the writing. In fact, maybe this writing should be more bold. And I also want this spaced out a bit nicer as well. So it might be an idea if we were to say, no, I think that's fine. Let's space these out a tiny bit. If you remember, we had here where we have the rating, we had a span, we had a margin on end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say margin X. So if I do margin X, that will actually put the same gap between both sides, not just the end or the star. It will be on both sides of X. And let's do exactly the same thing here. So where we've got that, let's borrow that. Let's just put that there. And we'll get rid of 0.8. So that should space things out a little nicer. Not bad, not bad. Maybe that gap is too much here. So let's reduce that to 2. Relatively to the page, that seems a bit bigger. Let's go 3. Okay. Yep, I agree with that. Okay. In fact, to be honest, maybe I want a bigger one here. We could have this spaced out either side, but that's too much of a gap. So, okay, to begin with, I don't think that's too bad. And let's have a margin Y where we have the director. So, in fact, let's just put a break. I could have a margin, but I think that should be fine. That's not bad. That's good. And let's create a break here as well. Top cost. Time. Good. Okay, that's not bad. In fact, if we were to have the same kind of break here and here, that would space out the page fairly well. Now, the other thing here is I can see that this is the font here. I would prefer the director to not be bold. So I might make some changes there. But let's start with those gaps first. So first of all, let's throw a gap in. Let's throw a gap here. So BR. Let's throw another gap here. BR. How do we look? That's not bad. I'm enjoying that. That's not bad. Okay, good. So I'm happy with that. And then what we might do later on is we might actually introduce the idea of having more than one genre per film so that we have several tablets. Right. What did we say? Okay, so I'm actually looking at this video and I'm thinking this is already almost 20 minutes long. And I think it's an idea if I just leave it here, because I did want to throw in some other things. I wanted to throw in, what did we say earlier? We spoke about the idea of possibly changing this with an if statement so that it says your rating if you've had a rating, and if you don't have a rating, then it should say click here. We can't do that without creating some user ratings first and the ability to user rate. We can do it from the back end to begin with, and then we'll put our if statements into our templates, but that could make it another 20 minutes long. So for the sake of finishing this video so that all our videos are not too long, I think we've styled the page relatively okay. I'm sure there's a lot more we can improve on, and I know that my students have probably done a much better job, and I might steal their ideas. So yeah, so I'll leave it at that. In fact, oh, another thing I want to throw in was here where we've got hours, minutes. Oh no, we don't. We've got, that should be days, hours, and minutes. I would like to see it a bit more like in, oh look what we've got here. We've got hour and minute like that. Interesting. In fact, you know what? Let's throw that into this video. So what I want to do is that's something that we deal with as a function. And when we've got film detail here before the context, let's throw in some calculation. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the film as a total in seconds. So let's just say total seconds for our film, and we want it as an integer, and we're going to take the film dot duration, and we want to take it as total seconds. Right, so this is basically a function that's going to take this data that comes from the film object, and it's going to extract the duration, which if you remember in the back end, it comes as hours, seconds, hours, minutes, and seconds, and it's going to take it as total seconds. So this function here is going to feed that in as seconds, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say, well, we'll work out that if we say hours is going to be equal to total seconds, and we're going to do this. We're going to divide it by 3,600. So there are 3,600 seconds in an hour, and let's take our minutes as well. So we'll say minutes equals total seconds, and this time what we'll do is we'll do a remainder division. Oops, my bad, modular. So we'll say total seconds mod 3,600. In fact, you know what? Let's do that. Let's put brackets, because afterwards we still want to divide that by 60. That should give us our hours and minutes. And then what I want to do is I want to pass a string into our template. So I'm going to say dura for short. No, let's say duration. I'll do that. We'll say duration for short equals, we're passing through a string. And how was it in the template? It was, oh, let's double check. If we go back to here, we can see it says 1 and then H and then 47 and M. So we want a number first. So we're going to say hour or hours, and then it will be H, and then we'll have a space, and we'll say minutes, and we'll say M, and seconds isn't important. So that should be fine. And then into our context, what we're going to do is we're going to say, right, let's pass a new dictionary item called dura, and that will be equal to this calculation called duration. So if I save that, now let's go back to our template, and over here where we've got duration, we're going to replace that with this other new variable that we're feeding into our template from context. And if we go back again, let's go to here and refresh. Boom, that's not bad. Oh, apart from this one doesn't have any hours, it's only got 3 minutes. I've made a mistake. Let's fix that. The issue was as I went into the back end. So if I go to this one I've now not corrected. Actually, look, I didn't have hours in the right place. So I realized that when I was adding the films, what I thought I was adding was hours and minutes. I seem to have been adding minutes and seconds. So now if I just go back and do each one. Okay, so now that each one is done, if I go to view the site now, yes, okay, that's looking better. Okay, so we've, well, it wasn't really a fix I had to do. It was working the way it was, but because now I'm going to enter the time and the time for every single film correctly, these calculations are working. So I've corrected that mistake. Anyway, we can end it now. Bye.